everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. We're back. I'm your host, Dave.
And I'm alive, and I'm John.
I'm mostly dead, and I'm JD.
Mostly dead?
Well, it's from Princess Bride. I was quoting.
Oh,
that
is right.
I was doing Miracle Max.
Yes, I got that. But
So how is everyone doing? John, we got to start with you. How are you? You're the reason we didn't have a show last week. How's everything going in your life?
that's okay. I'll take it. I can feel my arm. My arm works. It's nice. You know, another one of those getting old things. I had nerve damage from a car accident in 1991, which is probably like before most people were born that's listening to this. But anyway, so yeah, sometimes it flares up. And last week you don't want just, a background of screaming on the podcast. So,
It could have been fun. We could have done something with that, right, JD?
I don't know. So it's no different than the stuff Randy advertises on this show, really.
Yeah, true. Very true.
I like that it took you guys a second to get where I was going with that, and then it still landed.
It's wrong.
Actually, more comprehensible, the screaming, than what he's.
Oh, I understand them quite clearly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
when they scream, it's very, very clear what they're saying. They're having a good time.
So besides your nerve damage,
Unlike
how are you
John
doing,
last week,
John?
who was not having a good time.
Yeah. Everything's okay. Got work done. Read a lot of comics and got up to the was it 520, I think, episode of One Piece. And one of the actors.
What are you? 1/7 of the way through the show?
Yeah,
Are you 1/7 of the way through the show?
I'm less than half still.
Yeah.
Less than half.
Jesus.
But one of the actors in the live action One Piece, the guy who played Monkey D. Garp, plays the king of the was it King Atlan in Aquaman 2.
Ah.
Yeah.
So
Which,
just
by the
bring
way,
more
the
hops
trailer
and
of
we'll
that
get to
doesn't
Kevin
look
Bacon.
too bad.
All right. Well, okay. We'll get to that. It's in the news.
Yeah,
Am I
I know.
wrong
I
with
just
the
I just
Aquaman
thought
trailer too? Doesn't look that bad. Okay.
it's an ADD brain. You hop from one to one. It's
Yeah.
This is true.
I was watching One Piece, and then the live action had Monkey D. Garp, and the same actor played Aquaman, and that's in our show notes. And there's a connection there. That's not normal, actually. Normally, there's a leap of logic somewhere that nobody can follow. But yeah, everything else is okay.
That's good.
Everything's good. My cat up here, or is right there, she's having a little bit of an issue. So I have to take her back to the vet. So she's not eating as much as she should. So could stand some well wishes on that. Otherwise,
All
Love
right.
John's cat.
that's Jasmine.
Good
How
luck,
about-
Jasmine.
How about you, JD?
I'm all right. Hanging out. Got the kid in the room right now. He's trying to avoid bedtime. He's hiding from his mom. So that's always good. Then my broadcast class, we had our first really big full go game on Friday where we had the student commentators and cameramen and switch orders, and it went pretty good. I was actually really proud. It was like, as a teacher, I felt accomplished. So that's always fun.
Cool.
Well, that's important, right?
Yeah, I felt good. Felt really good. Other than that,
You're
just
doing
busy.
You're doing it for a reason, right? You're getting through these kids. That's what matters.
I want to get paid. I want a weekly. I want a bi-weekly paycheck where I know where it's coming from.
That's always helpful.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt, that's for sure. So,
True
how are
that.
you, Dave?
All right. Oh wait. What's this?
Perfect
the
evolution
show.
of beard
It's
growth.
perfect.
Yeah, I didn't shave, so I got a little bit of, and then there's Dave, who's a little bit more, and then there's the the pinnacle of manness beard
I
that
like
is
that.
JD.
Yes. All
Thanks,
right.
Polar Knights. Not familiar with you. Thanks for dropping
Yes.
by.
Yes. Thanks for dropping by. All right.
Yes.
I'm
I'm
all right.
complimenting on how goddamn manly I look.
Yes. Don't do too many compliments for JD. His head is big enough.
Conversational narcissist.
You notice his doesn't fit in the square as well as John and I's.
This is true. Because I got a better camera than you guys. I'm using my iPhone 14 here.
Really?
What Yeah, so Garrett, the guy who owned Fight Game, before we left, I was asking him for some advice on better camera, and he showed me this website, this software called Camo. It's Camo Studio, where you can use your iPhone like a camera, like a web camera, and it's far superior to like the built-in webcams, as you can see, because I look way better than these two.
So
Right?
you're saying I should be using this instead of my built-in camera?
The results speak for them. Let me quote Scott Steiner: "The numbers don't lie, and they smell disaster for Samoa Joe at Sacrifice."
That was one of my new things. I now have one of these Apple products. Known as an iPhone.
Android for life.
iPhone 13. And I will say this.
Go ahead.
That it automatically integrates with my laptop. Like,
Does do that.
Yeah, as soon as you log into your account on this, it's like, oh, you have got an iPhone.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, we're already there. We're already there.
Yeah.
So Drew wants to know what I thought of the folk style world tournament I know about. So it's not folk style; it's actually freestyle. The freestyle Greco World Championships were last weekend. The U.S. won the freestyle world title. We've surpassed Russia finally, and we look great. We looked absolutely great for the U.S., which is awesome because I remember following the team out to Moscow in 2010 when we sucked. I think we won 2 matches the whole tournament. And this has been just an absolute turnaround to the point where we had multiple gold medals. I think all but 3 guys in the team medaled. So for freestyle, we are literally the best program in the world. For Greco, we are god-awful fucking terrible. Our Greco-Roman program is in such bad shape right now. So the best place to watch it's probably Flow Wrestling. They have all the best coverage of that stuff. I thought it was an MJF quote. Oh, Drew. It was not an MJF quote. It's a Scott Steiner quote that MJF paraphrased a couple weeks ago. Gotta learn your TNA history, my man.
I'm still just using the camera on the computer, but like one of the times I tried to do something, that's what it was. I was playing around with TikTok on my computer, and it just automatically tried to use my phone as the camera.
That's what it wants to use.
Yeah.
TikTok is native to phone technology. That's how the vast majority of the English and Chinese speaking world utilize it.
And there was an option to use it in StreamYard, but I didn't pick that yet. So
it works.
It's funny you talk about that stuff because I was looking at here. I have a Logitech 920e camera, which seems to look. It's pretty good, right? At work, I have a Logitech Brio 4K, which is way more expensive.
Yeah.
And I would rather not use that for a podcast because it shows every pore on your face. It's like, it's like the problem that they have with like filming for 4K TVs now, where, people who looked good on a regular TV, you get into 4K and it's like, oh, you need way more makeup.
Yeah, that's a real thing that happened. It was like that when HD hit too. They had to elevate. But I mean, we're a video show now, John. We gotta step our game up, man.
That was a joke on Family Guy, I think, or Simpsons, one or the other. And they went HD, and they're like the news. Everyone loved this newscaster, and then she showed her on HD, and it was like, yeah,
yeah, that was a real thing, and it's only gonna get worse.
So yeah, I'm getting used to it. It's funny because John is saying Android for life. I know that you've always had an iPhone. As long as I've known you, at least. But the funny thing is, it's like it's a phone. It does everything my other phone did. I will say the camera is much better in this than my Samsung, but there are definitely things I do not like about it.
Like what? I've never had an Android phone, and I'm a Mac guy through and through. But video art world is pretty Mac dominant. So tell me.
My main complaint right now is the keyboard. Like on an Android, it'll have the number line at the top, like a regular computer keyboard, where it doesn't have. So I have to hit and so to get to a hashtag, I've got to hit 3 buttons to get to a hashtag symbol. So when you're doing stuff on social media, that's a pain in the butt.
And the walled garden that Apple has makes it hard to put another keyboard in, I'm sure.
They don't want you to put another keyboard in.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then, there's like little things just getting used to. Like, I understand some of my complaints are just getting used to the differences, but like stuff like that, it's like, no, this is definitely annoying. So.
Pull up Joey's comment here, man. I gotta echo his statement here. Joey from So Wizard says, Dave sounds like the ultimate boomer talking about iPhone. Go back to your green bubble. I agree. I lose so much respect for someone when I get a text from them and it's green. It's like, what a Philistine.
Okay, first off, don't fucking call me a boomer, you piece of shit. Second,
speaking of antagonistic towards one of our 4 viewers. Okay, good.
It's a joke. The other thing is,
speaking of assholes, my dog just knocked over my garbage can because he's bored.
Oh, good.
The other thing is, I don't like the green thing. Doesn't bother me. I don't understand why.
Because you're not an Apple guy. Because it's better. Like we have a family group text. We try to send videos to my dad back when he had an Android, and the video quality would just get all crappy because he wouldn't get on board and get himself a damn iPhone. Now he's got an iPhone.
Yeah.
By the way,
knock the plug out. But anyway,
can I just want to interject my my shirt?
Stabbity Bunny.
Stabbity Bunny. Yes. Well, I like I said, I was reading some comics this week over the last 2 weeks, and I dropped back into Stabbity Bunny because I uncovered it while I was trying to organize a few things. So. We're not paid. We don't do any product placement, but Stabbity Bunny, I really like it. So if anybody wants to try an interesting comic about probably the most homicidal rabbit since Bun Bun from Slugfest, then StabbityBunny.com.
8-Bit Ray says, please pull this up. Dave.
No, I'm not. No,
8-Bit Ray says, don't call Dave a boomer when he was there for the Big Bang.
These dicks. I think gonna jump in and make comments about my age.
I'm just reading the comments that are being read, that are being submitted to us.
Yeah.
The second we can charge for super chats, we can make them pay to say those kind of insults.
Yes, there you go. Once we're monetized, we're gonna everything's gonna be super chats.
Make you fuckers pay.
Speaking of homicidal rabbits, no. This is an interesting thing I wanted to bring up. I was watching my granddaughters yesterday, and
your granddaughters are homicidal rabbits?
No.
My kid might be, so I would understand if you made that comment.
We were watching this show on YouTube that they like called Kid Time Story Time.
Not familiar with that one.
And it's weird. Like it's
define weird.
That's the whole thing. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like the basic premise is it's a woman and she's reading books, right? Children's books.
Like Shelley Duvall used to do on HBO.
There you go. Or, like they used to do on Reading Rainbow, stuff like that.
Look, it's in a book.
It's weird because you definitely get this. It definitely has the vibe that it's a one-woman operation.
Like Reading Rainbow.
Yeah. But like there's production value, but it's like it's weird. It's like it goes so far and then like just stops. Like I'm only going to put so much effort into each episode.
Well, it's not. You are not exactly the target audience, Dave. So
no, I know, and I get it. And look, my granddaughters were engaged, and we're not engaged, but we're just sitting there and like watching it. So like, I get it. Like she's hitting her target audience, but it's just one of the weirdest things I've watched in a long time. The other thing that makes it weird is like she reads the book. It's a 2-camera setup, right? Where she's got a camera pointing down at the book and then a camera at her face like us, right? And when it's at her face, she's definitely got a green screen and there's stuff that goes on in the background. But then like when she's reading the book, it's on the book and that's all you see. But then she stops every once in a while and has commentary about what she's saying. That's like no one really asked. But then like another thing she'll do is she'll be explaining something or talking about something going on in the book, and then she'll use a phrase, and then she'll stop and explain what that phrase means. You know?
Oh,
like,
would she be like, "Man, this kid is being totally sus.
Oh God.
He's all sussy baka over here." My kid actually used that the other day, sussy baka. I was like, "Is that
Have they used the
Joey's
word Riz
nephew?"
yet? Have
Oh
they
yeah,
done
there
Riz?
is.
Yeah.
My kids use stuff like that, but as a joke. Comp is a big one. That's comp.
and then there's the one book she was reading was the Halloween tree, and it was about this tree that is in the neighborhood. He doesn't want to be a Christmas tree. He hates people and all, but again, the kids play on the tree, and he ends up loving the kids and blah.
That's
blah.
an adorable idea for a story. By the way,
It was a great, it was a fun little book, but like it's weird. Like as she's flipping through, all of a sudden, one time on the book, like obviously they draw a little face on the tree. All of a sudden, the eyes are animated. Like they obviously added that in.
That's weird.
But they only did it once while she was reading the book. Like that's what I'm saying. It's weird. Like
that is.
She throws things in, but she's not consistent with it. So it's yeah. I encourage anyone with I'm asking anyone out there that has young kids, watch an episode or two with your kids, and then let me know. Like, is it weird or is it just me? Because I think it's weird. So to an adult, not to a kid, obviously.
Okay.
I miss reading Rainbow. LeVar Burton was a saint. 8-Bit Ray says, sounds like a novel if John Ware were a Christmas tree.
No,
If
John Ware.
Oh, John were a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Very
Grumpy.
That's an idea. A
John
very
Ware
O'Grady Christmas.
tree?
A very O'Grady Christmas. There's something there.
Oh no! Don't have me describe an O'Grady Christmas. That's a story I've never told you guys.
We're good. I didn't mean for real. I meant like as a kid's story or something like that.
No. I think come Christmas time, we're going to want to hear about the O'Grady Christmas.
There's a couple of stories actually.
I don't know if we want to dig into childhood trauma. It's really not what
Actually,
we do
no,
here.
no, it's a fun story.
Oh, okay. Then yes, then we're going to need that.
Yes. And this
That's a
show is
great-
all about childhood trauma.
Oh, that's fair. We do superheroes. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
The whole genre is about. So come Christmas time, we should actually do that. Really, like an episode where we just tell kids Christmas stories from childhood. I love this idea.
An O'Grady Christmas Carol 2023.
I
There
love
you
it.
go.
Instead of getting visited by Jacob Marley, you get visited by Ziggy Marley.
So other than that, this week I did get caught up on Ahsoka.
I am one episode behind. I was gonna watch it,
Jesus.
and I was gonna watch it. My wife said, "No, we're gonna go walk the dog. The dog needs a walk." And she's like, "We'll be have plenty of time to get home and watch the episode." I'm like, "You're right." And then my kid ran into his best friend, and then it didn't happen. But I'm only one behind. One behind. That's great for me.
Hey, Frosty.
Frosty, hello.
Yes, but I think it's the best episode.
I know. I saw the
It is.
spoilers, and I wanted to see it, but we missed
How
the
about-
show last week, so we had to,
How about you, John? Are you caught up?
Did I mention it was on episode 520 of One Piece?
Are you kidding me?
No, I was gonna watch it today, but I just ran out of time between. Look, I've had 2 vet visits. I spent the beginning of the week screaming in pain. I never got a chance to.
watch a show you enjoy.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And I had to finish the Daredevil, which I did. So there's that.
Thrawn looks like a Smurf, and Elon Musk made babies. Kinda.
I don't know. I think
They
he looks
tried their
fine.
best. It's kind of like with One Piece. It looks better on paper than it does. Like it's hard to bring some of those kinds of characters to real life. Well,
New drinking game. Take a shot every time John says One Piece. Drew Carlson says, I fell asleep during the latest Ahsoka. Really? Everyone seems to love
Whoa.
this one. I've
Yeah.
heard nothing but positive things.
It was
Me
so
too.
good. It's everything it's been building to the show. Like, oh, okay, here's the here's the beginning of it paying off. Like, so.
Drew, did you watch
And
Rebels? I know you can't answer that. I just put that in the
They
chat.
did. Hey, at least they didn't like do a side quest with the Mandalorian on this one. Yeah,
No, because there's no need to.
To be fair, the Book of Boba Fett needed a Mandalorian side quest.
Well, yeah, they could have written that a hell of a lot better. You expected him to do a lot more kick-ass stuff, and he didn't.
Surprisingly, which lives up to his Boba Fett, because Boba Fett's never done anything actually cool. No, Drew. So I didn't either.
Their minds.
So I didn't either. I never watched any bit of Rebels, and then I watched every episode of this, and then I found a 10-minute YouTube video. So Star Wars Rebels in 10 minutes.
Oh,
and that's exact radius. Like Rebel season 5 is kicking ass so far, and I'm like watching this whole thing. I'm like, oh. Now I understand what the hell's going on in the show. So yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is Rebel season 5.
All right. So wait, what episode have you seen up to, John?
Ahsoka the White.
Oh,
You're
so
like 3 episodes behind.
Yeah, you're 1 episode behind. You're where JD is.
Well, 2 episodes. I'm 2 episodes behind.
Did you see the one with Anakin?
Yes.
So you're like me. You're 1 behind.
Oh, okay. I thought I was 2. Okay.
No, you're just 1 behind. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean.
So
all right, let's look.
Ezra Bridger's alive. The Death Sisters, whatever, call him, are back. Like the fucking Twitter ruined it for me, so I know what's going on. Ezra looks like Jesus, by the way. Like not like Jesus what I actually look like, but what Western culture is trying to tell me Jesus looked like.
All right. Well, I mean, it's funny because there's definitely 2 things about that episode, but you guys haven't watched it.
We are the worst podcast hosts.
Yes. Okay. Let's go back to episode 5 then.
Okay.
You didn't watch Rebels, right?
No.
So you don't know about the world between worlds.
I know about it now because I watched this 10-minute the Rebels in 5 minutes or Rebels in 10 minutes.
It's the reason why Ahsoka is still alive after facing off with Darth Vader. So
I learned that Ezra is Jesus. Classy says that's possibly what I've learned.
Jared Leto was too busy to play the role. Nice one. Sorry.
Okay, so what did you think of that episode?
Oh, I thought it was cool. I didn't know what. Okay, so I don't know what the hell is going on. I know of these characters, but I didn't really. This is my introduction to them. And I texted Dave in the middle of me watching the first episode. Like the entire cast of this is just really hot. Like I just was bamboozled at how attractive everyone on this show is. Harrison Dula's. There's actually fan pages to Harrison Dula's butt that I think is just awesome because she got a dump truck.
Some might say that's sexist.
Dula, I've seen
sexy. They would be incorrect. They're putting too many letters on there. Sexy. Space whales. Yeah, I learned that space whales are a thing. They can go into hyperspace. When they did that, I'm like, these whales go into hyperspace? And then I saw the cartoon, like, these whales do in fact go into hyperspace.
But they hinted at that in, I think it was Book of Boba Fett, or
Mandalorian
season 3, where Grogu looks out the window and when they're in hyperspace and sees one of the whales.
That's right. I do remember.
Well, it's also an extended canon too. The Purrgil actually were the reason why they learned about that humans learned, or other races learned how to travel hyperspace. They would travel behind the Purrgil, and Jedi originally were also used to travel hyperspace because they could feel hyperspace and avoid problems. They were the ones that originally carved the paths.
So no one's ever told a regular Star Wars fan that.
No.
Right. So that's the thing. And like there's a whole slow pop behind this where basically they're kind of saying the world between worlds, you can move through time and space through that and hyperspace, and it's all connected to the Force. So like, but yet the average Star Wars fan who's only seen the movies doesn't know this.
No, I didn't know that either.
And Ahsoka can get to the world between worlds supposedly because she actually contains part of the daughter's soul.
Ray makes a joke that
because she died once.
Ray makes a joke. Whales are important to everything. Ask Star Trek. That's the joke that I made to my wife. I said, "This is what Kirk was doing. He was laying the foundation for
nice
time for space travel whales."
Ray is right. Space wizards.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. exactly. It doesn't matter. But yeah, this show, if you do not watch Rebels, it's not impossible to follow because I am digging these characters. You know, I try to tell my son, because remember you said, John, these aren't really Sith, they're like dark Jedi. And he looked at me and goes, Dad, they have red lightsabers, they're Siths.
They're orange.
And like, yeah, that's why I tried to say that. And he was just like, shut up, Dad. I'm trying to watch Star Wars.
They're fighting against the good guys. They're bad.
Drew asks, why do we have to leave
gotta-
the galaxy far, far away? Because Filoni feels like it?
Yes.
No, because we're finally going far, far away.
Well, they're finally doing something different. They're
Yes,
finally doing
exactly.
something different.
We're not looking at the same 6 places over and over again. We haven't been on the desert planet. I appreciate it so much. Good evening,
Yeah.
James Burton, comic connoisseur. Oh yeah,
Yes.
I like the show. I feel like I have a better understanding of it. I think that if you did not watch the Rebels, which I did not, I think you can like the show, but I think you get a better appreciation of what's going on if you watched Rebels, or at least have an understanding of what Rebels was.
And Clone Wars. I mean, Rebels
Yeah,
is
Clone Wars
most
too.
of the history. Clone Wars also has some of the history that you'd need to know.
I mean, the whole thing, really. Ray says Star Trek trying to learn how to go plaid instead of ludicrous speed. Spaceball 1.
There are no Spaceballs in this new universe that they've gone to.
Just
That would
wait.
So, okay, I'll say this about the latest episode. Something I thought was great is there's a huge difference between how they introduce Thrawn and how they introduce Ezra. Like Thrawn, the Star Destroyer flies up, and like they're standing on this tower, and the bay is open, and it kind of like lands perfectly on the bay, and there's all these stormtroopers in there, and they're trying what do you call it? Chanting. That's the word I was for. Thrawn, and he like walks out, with his captain of the guard, and it's like this big entrance, and then like when what's her face? The character Sabine.
Ahsoka? Or Sabine.
Sabine finally finds Ezra. It's like so subdued, like you hear his voice off camera over her shoulder, and like he walks out, and it's just like
different characters,
like that was done on purpose, and it was done so well, I think.
We got 2 comments. We should pull those up real quick. I think they're both kind of important. Kassan says Ahsoka has enough gaps between dialogue a Purgle can fall through them. It's so slow. My son said the exact same thing. Because, Dad, they're just talking. It's so boring. And then they'll have a lightsaber fight, and he gets into it. It is a slow-moving show. Drew says the Thrawn trilogy, I feel, stayed in the Star Wars universe. Filoni is making up his own thing and putting Star Wars skin in it. That is not true, sir, because Dave Filoni was hired, in fact, by George Lucas to do this.
Yeah.
Right. So the stuff that Filoni is doing, he has been doing since 2008.
Yeah.
And he's had Lucas's blessing for the stuff he did.
He
with
worked
Clone
for
Wars
Lucas.
and-
He's the guy that came over. Like this is all Lucas approved stuff. This stuff predate. A lot of this stuff is predating the Disney takeover. Like this is more Star Wars EU than it is Dave Filoni just freelancing out here. Like this is what Star Wars was supposed to grow into.
He's pulling stuff from the extended universe, the books, all the books, the many books. He's pulling the good stuff from it and repurposing it. And they've had creatures from outside the galaxy before, the Yuzavong, which I guess they're not going to do here. This is more of a Night Sisters thing, but yeah, I mean, this is good. This is not, it's different. It's like you said, nary a single biome planet to be seen so far. No deserts, no sand, which is good because Anakin would come back from the dead to
He already did.
complain about it. Yeah. Well,
All right. I'm gonna. So Ray makes a good point, and this is classic Star Wars. If you watch those movies, 40 minutes on a desert planet, like he's right. Like,
and they talked a lot.
and they talk. Yes.
Tons of dialogue in Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Tons of dialogue.
Yeah. Like, if you want non-stop action, watch the new Star Trek movies.
Well, it just goes to show you that even as a kid, you can have rose-colored glasses on when something, catches your imagination.
One of the things that I noticed the videos I've watched where they're like talking about this show, and they pointed out they're not doing the cutaways as much. It's more of like letting a scene breathe, where in classic Star Wars, they'll cut back and forth through the different things that are going on.
But that's good.
Right, but this is a television show. It's more episodic.
Serialized.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about that. The reason the Star Wars movies have those, look from a tactical standpoint, the reason the Star Wars movies are cut differently than movies from the 70s were because George Lucas really didn't know how to make a movie. So they had to kind of cobble the film together, right? Like you couldn't, like usually it was like back in the day, you'd have your master shot, which is like which was your backbone of how you'd edit a scene. And then you would have your inserts, right? They didn't do that with Star Wars because they couldn't, because like, Lucas wasn't getting the kind of performances they want, and it was slow and boring. So they changed up to what will then become known as the blockbuster editing style, where it's more shot, where it's more like cut happy. And even Star Wars today, if you look back in 1977, it's not. It's very stuff breathed, but not like it did in 1968. Like compared to like The Godfather, way more stuff plays out in longer masters than in the Star Wars movies. So having a more deliberate pace is Star Wars, but Star Wars was the movies that stopped letting films play out in a more deliberate pace because that's how they had to make it, or else it wouldn't have worked.
Right, but also, I mean, you've seen the behind the scenes stuff, like a lot of that too. The editing of Star Wars is what saved that movie.
100%, that's what I said. It doesn't work. It doesn't work if it's not edited like that.
Yeah.
They had to. That movie changed the way films are edited.
Yeah.
Right, because in the 1980s, 70s, excuse me, that was a faster paced film.
Yes.
Right. This what we think of as fast paced, like Randy just said, like Fast 10 or whatever. That wasn't what movies were like.
No, right? He said, watch the new sequels. They're fast.
Yes.
Like they're very fast paced compared to
because they're edited like modern movies, where it's like the rhythm is just much different.
I do think that's true, and I also feel like the modern editing has ruined us for like good storytelling, like filling in details and stuff. Not that you need all the details, but like, yeah, everyone wants boom, 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 action. And if it's not that, they get upset.
No, they don't really get upset. Here's the thing, is that like all of these, Marshall Lucas was the editor. That's true.
Yeah.
One of the editors actually. But like, it's not just like, what I was trying to say is, it's not just like, people have this idea that, the audiences have these short attention spans. They have to have stuff going, blah, 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 blah. And then Oppenheimer comes out.
Yeah.
Which is cut much more like a traditional story of the 70s, right?
Well, it depends on the audience though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It depends on what you're telling people, right? It depends on what story is trying to be told. We've told people for 3 decades now that they can't handle slower paced editing. And then it turns out they can.
Yeah.
Right. It's just executives don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just say things that they think works. She's the reason. Yeah, Marshall Lucas is the reason special edition exists. So we have to pay her royalties. Also true. Also true.
Yeah, Kassan says it's not about fast action. It's about moving the plot with change and growth. Ahsoka is just marketing piece that relies on self-reference to stoke the audience's interest. No, because I think what these shows are all doing, like, if people haven't picked up on this, is they're trying to fill in the gaps to somehow Palpatine returned. Like it's not explained. He just shows up, but they've been laying the groundwork in all of these shows to like how the First Order came into power and how Palpatine returned, and like, they're filling in those gaps that like all the fans have complained about, and I think like it's not just marketing. It's not just unnecessary stories,
but that's a very heavy lift. I mean, and Filoni can make it interesting, which, you hope that in the end it works out.
And how many fans of Rebels have not asked, well, what happened to Ezra and Thrawn? Like, that has been something that fans have been asking of those shows since that season aired.
Well, what they're trying to do too is they're trying to make a more tenable tie to the Star Wars animation stuff that hasn't been established before.
Yeah.
Also remember that the reason why you're getting more scenes where they're letting the characters breathe is because they're still trying to bring in people that haven't seen Clone Wars. So they need a way for you to care about these characters. You need more introduction to the characters. You need more information about the characters. And what better way than to let them talk to each other and interact with each other? I mean,
I like Ray's comment here. Disagree. As Clone Wars added as much more depth to the lore, this is adding bricks in the road to the fireworks factory of the Mando movie coming. I don't know.
So not a fan. Not a fan.
This is going to. This is going to lead into a Dave Filoni movie. So, which I think is going to tie Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Rebels all together in a live action movie. So.
yeah, as of May, there was also supposed to be Star Wars Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus at some point.
What's that
Right.
going to be?
I don't know.
Pair is a new live action show set in the same time as The Mandalorian, following 4 lost kids as they try to find their way home. Watson Ford described it as a coming of age adventure inspired by 80s Amblin films.
Huh. I don't
about
know.
that. And Bad Batch season 3, and then Mandalorian 4. There was supposed to be a movie that tied it all together, but I heard something about everything's getting pushed off. So who knows what's going to be around for the next
Truth
year.
says I think it's both self-reference and retcon. You don't need space whales to explain how Palpatine returns. No, but the space whales are something that have been in a lot of the stuff. The extended universe.
They figure into this
It's not-
because they're what brought them to the other galaxy.
Right.
So
If it's been there,
they're
it's not a
literally what
retcon.
ties this plot together.
Right.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
If
If it's been there, it's
if
not
it was
a retcon.
already right, if it's already been there, it's not a retcon. Exactly. It's not. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. I think you guys need to watch the new episode. I really liked it. It was it's good. I like live action Thrawn. It's Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen is the actor. He did the voice
Lars
in the cartoon,
Mikkelsen.
and they just
Which is
the
made
other one.
it's the other one. You're
His
right.
brother.
It's his brother, right? Which is like, and they didn't really like overly CGI him or anything. They just gave him blue skin and red eyes. So it's
They didn't give him the higher forehead and all that. So,
Right.
I mean,
it
bringing
works.
stuff to everybody take a drink. It's just the same problem they had with the fishmen in One Piece live action. So, like,
Take a drink.
When you're, I'll take a drink. When you're trying to translate something from cartoons or whatever into a live action series with a much lower budget, you're stuck with the old Star Trek trope of maybe if we just give them a few ridges on their forehead or change their ears or
Right. Can we get Mel Brooks as an underling of Thrawn? No.
I don't.
God,
think
that would
Lord-
be great.
I'd love to see Lord Yogurt.
No,
Yogurt.
this
I'd
is
love to
not.
see Yogurt
This
in
is
this.
not Spaceballs. Stop it.
But it could be.
Yeah, Baylor.
I'm enjoying the show. My favorite part is Baylor. His lightsaber duel with Ahsoka was
Yes,
amazing.
it was. I liked it a lot.
The actor is so good. It so sucks that he passed away. So
I know. He was a good Punisher in a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Warzone
Yeah.
sucked, but he was good. He was good.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I don't know how the season's going to end. Like, if he lives or not, and if I wonder if they'll recast him if he's got an important role in the future of the story. You know,
Hard to say.
He's going the same place Mira is.
Thrawn and his 300 soldiers. Well, again, I'm not going to say too much since these guys haven't watched it yet. There's a lot of theories about his troops, and
They're like undead zombies, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
that's one of the
I've heard.
theories.
I've seen.
Hey, John, are you ready to admit that you were wrong and about freaking out and listening to those nerds who thought the one random Inquisitor was Ezra, and you were all worked up about it?
You were. Well, I was hoping it was wrong, and I'm glad it's wrong.
So are we not going
I
to
was
listen to dumb
freaking out,
YouTubers
yes.
anymore? Like this was like a repeat of WandaVision.
Nope. I will only listen to We Got It Covered.
oh God, out!
How damn spot I say?
Kassan
For those
says
of you
Bail-
that don't know the joke, we got it covered.com. Really, God, I'm helping them by just saying it. Just they're one of those sites that like we would love to have their clout when making rumors that just are not true.
It's fortunate that you don't even have the name of the site, right? So it's not
That's
something
good.
else. Yeah.
Kasan says Baylor's the best part of the show. He's actually acting, and he shows depth in his character. Everyone else is a cardboard cutout of an archetype. No, I don't believe. I don't
think so.
I don't think so. Dirty Laundry is the best Punisher.
That was good.
Media.
That was Thomas Jane's short film that he made. I enjoyed that.
Star Wars Zombies. Play it safe, Disney.
Oh God, no.
I'm enjoying Ahsoka. This is James Burton, comic book extraordinaire creator. I'm enjoying Ahsoka. I don't mind the storytelling at all. This is the pacing I expect for Obi-Wan, and I didn't mind space whales and witches. Yeah,
That's my new album.
It's all space. It's all
That's
space
your cover
wizards.
band.
Like
That's
I
my
don't
band.
know why. I don't know why people are getting upset at that.
Think about the
stuff.
amazing 70s style artwork that band would have on its album covers. Some Frazetta shit.
It'd be a cover band for Genesis or something. Or no, Starship. Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Starship, not Starship. Starship.
Right, exactly.
Starship was awful. Jefferson Starship was fun. Jefferson Airplane, also awful.
Yeah.
However, if this leads to impotent look, fuck it. What?
Well, if anything leads to impotency, I say fuck it too. I don't want to be impotent. That's good life advice right there.
And Ray says Star Wars Halloween special coming soon. Yeah, zombies.
Is that really going to be a thing? Didn't
I
we
don't
have that
think
already? The Star Wars Halloween special? I think they did like a.
Oh no, they did the animated ones.
Yeah, we watched that last year. I thought so.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
I watched it with Andy.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror,
no more holiday. Yeah. Speaking of horror, let's move on to some social media madness.
Why?
Because it's our shtick. Look, I asked a question to the audience. Feels like 2 weeks ago at this point.
Why?
And we deserve, our audience deserves to hear our comments on their answers.
If you say so.
So the question I asked, since we're talking about Daredevil and Frank Miller and Daredevil this week, my question was, what is your favorite Frank Miller comic? And we had people answer over on the TikTok. Mr. R. Savage said, what if I've only seen the movies? And I said, well, then read more. And 8-Bit Ray says, you know damn well it's The Dark Knight Returns.
Overrated. Clap, 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 clap. Overrated.
No, you're not
clap,
supposed to say that. It's a classic.
He's not saying it. He's chanting it.
I'm chanting it, much like Thrawn soldiers.
Over on Instagram, James Burton said, my favorite is still Dark Knight Returns. It was my intro to him outside some Ronin, and the one outside of some Ronin, and the one I identified with. Oh, okay.
Are you having AI read these? I don't know.
Yeah. Randy's now chimed in over on the Instagram, said, Batman Year One. Honestly, haven't read a lot by him. Only seen the movies. My friend John commented, and it has nothing to do with the question. It had to do with my lighting choice. He works in television, so that doesn't shock me. Wait, I'm sorry. I can't read it. It's too small. The Glorious She said, got to be Ronin, then 300, and with Sin City rounding out the
Triumvirate
of Miller. And John Joseph Smith said, Born Again, possibly Born Again, possibly the best mainstream comic ever. So
that's a bold statement, but
it is a bold statement. It is a good story, but it's a bold statement. Over on the YouTube,
Ghost of Dave,
we've got At 4060 said, Daredevil Born Again. I'm really excited for the show. And then finally on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Still Twitter.
Still Twitter,
yeah. That's what everyone, like every podcast I listen to and whatever, when they talk about this, they call it X, formerly known as Twitter. We had Randy again chime in, said, I did read The Dark Knight Returns, and it's god-awful sequel.
Yeah, that was a bad comic.
AJ said, Sin City, 2, Batman Year One, 3, Give Me Liberty, and 4, Dark Knight Returns, 5, Hard Boiled, 6, 300, 7, Ronin. Wow.
Ronin's
that really likes all of his work. So Wizard gave us a 300 GIF. So did the Geek World All Stars.
You had to do This Is Sparta. You had to do it. Somebody had to do that.
I said Daredevil Born Again, and Spider Lou said Elektra Assassin. Interesting. That's an interesting choice, I think. So
I agree.
8-Bit Ray says Daredevil number 120 if you want that booty smacking goodness.
Smack the boot.
Yes. Oh wait, what did James say here? Dark Knight Returns was my intro to modern Batman. I loved it when I had read it. It was a new take at the time. It was also fit in a lot of ways. Now it feels hacked. It was so copied.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's like Watchmen. Like Watchmen isn't cutting edge of everything as Watchmen.
Everyone has
for Daredevil fans, Disney
did.
removed Daredevil Born Again from the roadmap of releases. Yeah, but I mean, I think that was due to the strike. They changed a lot of stuff around.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can trust anything as far as these maps because nobody knows what's getting made and when. Remember?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the strike's ending. Strike's still going. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the writers are close to getting something, I think.
Are they?
But even if the writers come back, they still have to settle with all the other different groups.
I keep seeing.
So
I think last week I saw the actors 2 or 3 times someone post, "Oh, breaking news! The strike's over," and then it's like, no, like they're talking, but the strike isn't over.
I saw a lot of WGA members be like, "Nope, strike's not over. Nope."
Yeah. So
the writers have to come back, but if the writers come back, then they need the actors, and if the actors come back, they need the guys making the cars to come back.
That's
so
the UAW strike. The UAW strike's big.
All right,
that's a huge one. So
Dave doesn't want to talk about that. Cutting us off before we get the chance to dig.
What the car strike?
UAW strike? Yeah, the United Auto Workers strike that's going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the same thing as the writers, though. The writers
they want to get paid
2% a year, and the executives get 5,000% a year in their pay raise.
We got to have that golden parachute when we're getting covered in our golden showers.
I don't have anything. I haven't read anything about their strike, so I don't have anything to comment on it.
Okay. Let me give my dissertation. No.
So, on that note, if you want to be part of Social Media Madness for next week, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
How's the show going? You join it? Do you want to be part of Social Media Madness? And go ahead and head over to superheroespeak.com where you can find all the social links, episodes of the show. You can find comic reviews by Chris and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, So Wizard, and Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. So make sure that you are engaging with the Superhero Speak Twitter post whenever they come up. Give us your best comment, and you may make JD say this.
I get so tired of these dumb motherfuckers.
All right, it's back to the show.
The fuckers get me tired.
Thanks for that, Don. Hopefully we can get you on sometime soon. I know you said Sundays are bad for you, but yeah. Also, while you're here, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click that bell for notifications so you won't miss us when we go live right on this channel every Sunday night at 8:30. Old man O'Grady has another health issue.
Not planning on it.
Well, no one plans on it. So,
Very
all
true.
right. On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with the news.
Some podcasts are like this.
I think someone put it lightly and quite cleverly. It's like girls aren't like lesbians aren't turned off by dicks. They're turned off of what's behind them. And I was like, yo, fuck yeah.
What's behind a dick? A butt?
The man.
Oh.
That was so fucking stupid.
And some podcasts are like this.
I have an upsetting opinion.
I'm ready.
A corn dog is a tamal.
F off.
What? No. Hold on. Think about it.
You need to F off.
It's like a loose corn-based batter that's cooked around a central filling.
You're
am I
cooked
crazy
around
here?
the central filling.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy here?
Yeah.
A corn dog shares so many more similarities to a tamal than a Wellington.
I disagree. I think the corn dog is more related to fried catfish than it is to tamale.
I like how I looked at the graphic to see what a corn dog is. Fried catfish, what is that?
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
Putting up all the equipment, talking. The dude's putting on gloves as they're shutting things down. It's just like
weightlifting gloves.
You thought you were gonna come out on top, huh, Steve?
Yeah.
Now he beat you.
No. Fucking bait.
Now we.
I don't care who you are before you beat the record.
The machine is ours. Your wife, your children, they're ours. Now we beat you.
Destroying this cabinet with no survivors.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
I think Drew has the answer to everything.
CGI cars and movies. Happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Hasn't gone wrong yet.
And apparently John was there for the Model A off the assembly line.
Oh, we had a parade in town today because we live in a small back-ass town. And so we had our homecoming parade, and they had the Model A Club drive through.
Nice.
Those were cool. Yeah, there's John commenting on
John,
our own video.
yes, I was there when they invented the wheel to put on the Model A. Old man O'Grady. Gotta love him. Kassan says he's glad you're feeling better, John.
Thanks, Kassan.
I know you don't feel good, but I'm glad you're not feeling as bad. Who's that guy?
And I don't know. Who is that guy? All right. We do have some news to talk about. That's the other
news
thing.
is getting sparse, but
I forgot on social media, man.
To talk about.
When we announced, I will say this: when we announced last week, we weren't going to be on because of, I said, health issues. A lot of people would have said, "Oh, we hope." A lot of people reached out, said, "Hope everything's okay."
Yeah, I got that too. Don's like, "Are you dead? Have you died? What is
No,
wrong?
it was me.
Are you okay?" I'm like, "It's O'Grady." He's like, "I know, man. I just want to make sure you're safe." And I'm like, "Thanks, man. I had grad school tonight. I appreciate that."
It was me.
Love you,
It
man.
was me. It was me. Like, it's what 8-Bit Ray said. I lied. I was covering for my bingo night. It went over. So,
well, and then when I said that too to like people, like, "Oh no, it's John." Okay, but are you okay? You know, that's what they were saying.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm fine. I just have, yeah.
No, it was just, one of those things. Like Sunday night I couldn't do it because I had been flat on my back since Saturday morning because of nerve damage to my arm. I couldn't move it, and all it was doing was telling me it was in pain and on fire. And that lasted until like Monday, Tuesday.
Most people spent the whole weekend flat on their back in the bed. They'd call it a great weekend.
Yeah.
Hey.
So we rescheduled for Monday, but then JD couldn't.
No
do it,
soul.
so. Yeah,
All right.
I had practice. We couldn't do it on Monday, so it didn't work.
There was a
life.
There was a trailer that came out since we were together the last.
JD, are you trying to make a connection? I don't.
The ADD is kicking my ass tonight, guys. I can't deny it. I'm like bouncing off the wall.
We got our
that's
first
okay because we're about to talk about Aquaman. So.
We got our first official trailer for Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, and so what did you guys think?
I like how Amber Heard's character is just a couple of pixels in each. No, 2 shots. I think there's 2 shots.
Those are 2. I counted 1, but
one when they're having a picnic in front of the lighthouse, and there's like a couple of red pixels, which I think is her hair. And then there's a second one when the lighthouse is on fire, and you can see somebody in a red wig running up behind them.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I have heard stories that people in the test audiences actually walked out of this movie.
Really?
Wasn't that
the trailer looked good?
Wasn't that
the trailer
because
looked really good?
They think maybe the prevailing I think idea is
okay, so everyone knows.
Whoa, flags. We're all over each other. Stop. Start again. Go ahead.
Everyone knows the story about what's the baby's name?
Arthur Curry Jr.
Yeah, but like they call him something
Aqua
in the
Baby.
Okay. Everyone knows the story of Aqua Baby, right? From
He's
the comics.
fucking killed
By
Black Manta.
Exactly. So that's the question. Did they kill the baby in this movie?
I don't know, man. The vibe of the trailer does not strike me as we're going to gut a newborn.
There's 2 ways they could go. They could go about this. One they could kick the baby. Sorry, South Park there. They could kill the baby, but I'm sure that's what the test audiences were a little upset about. But number 2 is they could go the Bruce Timm way, where the baby's in trouble and Aquaman cuts his arm off to save the baby, and that would be way more badass.
That is one of the rumors, is that he has the hook.
And there's that shot in the trailer with
movie.
The Rock pinning him down.
Yeah.
The Rock?
The boulder.
Oh,
boulder pinning him down.
I meant Dwayne Johnson. You said The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock.
My wrestling brain immediately
he's joined the
went
DC
to,
universe.
Yeah,
for its
he
last
was.
stand.
He's Black Adam.
Yeah, true. But
Remember the balance of power had shifted momentarily?
Yeah, kinda, sorta, maybe.
But yeah,
not really.
Again, we don't even know if this is going to count, if he's even part of the new universe, if any of this matters.
Here's where I'm at on this whole new universe. Who fucking cares? Is the movie any entertaining?
Right.
That's where I'm at with these things. I don't fucking care about continuity. I don't care if people are who is in where, who likes what. I don't care. Is this entertaining? Trailer looked entertaining. The James Wan said his inspiration was that is true. That is true. Both him and John Cena are on SmackDown during stuff.
They
during
need
the
to pay
strike.
some bills, huh?
Rock might have some bills. It's been a rough year for him. Like I was saying, the James Wan said the inspiration of this movie is 48 hours. And you totally get that vibe with Ocean Master and Aquaman. So
and his brother.
Yeah, his brother, Ocean Master.
Don't call him that.
Yeah, but he's Ocean Master. I can't remember what his Orn.
No. I mean, he tells Jason, or he tells Aquaman not to call him his brother.
I know, and I forget what his name is though. It's Orn. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna kill Aquababy or not. And I don't really give a fuck how this fits into continuity. Can you entertain me for an hour and a half? That's all I ask.
I don't think it fits in continuity at all. I think it feels like it's a self-contained Aquaman story.
Ben Affleck, you know what? Is credited in IMDb. I don't know if that means anything. He might make a slight appearance as Bruce Wayne. Maybe.
Well, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. Who cares? Who gives a fuck?
I was going to say the rumors originally were that what's his face was in it, Keaton, and they ended up reshooting all of the Keaton stuff with Ben Affleck, and that was confirmed with like stuff.
God damn. Warner is so great at wasting money. They're incredible at it. Like nobody burns through millions of dollars the way Warner Discovery just like lights money on fire. It's just, and it's not just this it's not just this regime, right? It's like for decades, consistently.
They didn't need to. They could have left what's his name, Keaton, in it, right? They could have
killed him.
Because it doesn't matter. Well, they killed him in that universe, but now it's the new Flashpoint.
But that's the thing, though, is like in all the universes, Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Remember, we got that in the Flash movie,
right?
Yeah.
So who cares?
Well, it could have been what's his face, the other Batman, the one at the end of Flash.
George
Clooney.
Yeah, they could have left. They could have left it at anybody because it doesn't matter if it's not part of the new universe.
Who cares?
Well, that was the whole thing. Like they just made it a joke in Flash by making it Clooney. It was just like, yeah, none of it matters now.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I just hope I hope it's not as bad as you've said it is. Because I thought, oh, this might be fun. Maybe.
Yeah. No, the trailer looks great. Like
it does look great, but then again, they've always put out pretty good trailers.
Agreed.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Blue Beetle was good
against that.
Here's the problem: is in the last year, this will be the 5th DC movie in the last calendar year to come out. And they've all taken a beating. So it's like the public doesn't want these movies right now. And they keep putting them out.
Has it really been 5 movies in a year?
Count. We start with Black Adam.
When did that come out, though?
October of 2022.
Okay.
So Black Adam. Then we had Shazam, Fury of the whatever. Then we had Flash. Then we had Blue Beetle. Now we have Aquaman 2. 5 movies, every one of them, the box office has done this.
Yeah.
Aquaman's the most profitable of all of them.
Yeah, that was in 2017 or 2018. That's an eternity.
2018. And it's still got 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, and it's funny because they do like
it's brainless.
Someone pointed out in the voiceover in the trailer, he says something about it's been 4 years because it was actually supposed to come out last year.
Well, yeah. Here we are.
Yeah. So, and if it had just come out last year when it was supposed to,
we paid Ben Affleck a bazillion dollars to do these reshoots. But we couldn't have Jason Momoa, ADR the proper line. Come on, man. Black Manta equals dollars. He looks cool as fuck in the armor. He looks awesome. Like I saw, that's Black Manta. That looks good. God, I hope this movie doesn't suck too bad.
Mohammed says the Flash didn't deserve the hate. It did in my.
I mean, it wasn't.
I liked it more than you did. I liked it more than you did, John. But it's flawed.
It's flawed.
Don't get me wrong.
It's flawed, but it's. I think that's what we said in our review. Is like
it's fun but flawed.
It's fun but flawed. Like there's definite issues with it, but if you just turn your brain off and want a popcorn flick, it works.
Well, it was better than most of the rest. So,
Yeah, I don't understand. Again, what audiences want at this point. Either.
They're sick of this shit, man. They want something
nobody
different.
Knows. No,
nobody ever knows.
Warner Brothers has confused them with all these different movies. No, we don't even know what we want anymore because they keep giving us weird crap that doesn't stick. So how can we know what we want at this point?
Here's the problem: is they had 5 movies come out in less than a year, and nobody wants them. Right?
Yeah.
Here's what they should do. Here's what they should do with DC stuff. Just stop for a minute. Like, I think this is going to hurt the gun stuff too, is because nobody wants this right now, but they still keep churning them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole problem with DC is they flailed for so long, not sure what to do, felt like in some ways they were trying to catch up with Marvel, others they were trying to do their own thing, and there was no driving force behind it, and it just,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were definitely trying to catch up to Marvel, and that was the problem. That's what started all this. And then giving it to Zack Snyder. That was a mistake too. So
Man of Steel made a lot for the admittedly fundamental flaws that Man of Steel had. It made a shit ton of money.
Kassan says, I agree, Muhammad. I showed it to my kids on Max and they loved it. The writing is good, and even Ezra Miller's acting was solid.
He was pretty good in the movie.
It's pretty
good in the movie.
Kind of non what?
Canonical. I think it means canonical.
Canonical, yeah.
Non-canonization of the movie torpedoed it. No, I don't think it is a non-canonization of it that torpedoed, because it wasn't supposed to be non-canonization. What torpedoed is people don't want these movies. They've got in their head that the DC movies are bad. That's like the meme.
yeah.
The meme has become reality. And Ray's right. Marvel hasn't put out quality lately either. 100% been saying it for a year, right? I don't think things are looking great for the Marvels. Everybody kind of agreed that Secret Invasion was a turd. Like, I've been sour on this stuff for a while. Loki better be good because I'm giving it 1 episode.
Tom Hiddleston will make it good.
I'm tired of slow burns, man. Just give me something. Like, my time is valuable. Give me something. Entertain.
There was no reason for Secret Invasion to be slow burn like that. Or if it was, by the 3rd episode, you should have realized it should have been that he was playing everybody.
Secret Invasion was a mess. From episode 1.
The writing was horrible.
The comic was a mess too. So I mean, where's everybody surprised?
True.
Yeah, but they could have made something good out of it, like they did with Civil War. Like, there's issues with a lot of issues with the comic, but they made the movie great.
That's true.
James says you can't engineer epic. Fans make things epic, and I'd rather watch underfunded Deadpool style movies.
Yeah, I agree with him. I do. You guys hear Taylor Swift's dating someone from the Chiefs? That's the big news. People are freaking out about that.
Yeah, so she's working on her next album then.
I would never date Taylor Swift. She's really pretty and super tall, but I mean, like, if you lift the toilet seat up, there's a song coming out about you. Like, if you got a piece of asparagus stuck between your teeth, it's going to be a top 40 hit.
What was that last comment?
From James?
No,
I'd rather watch John Constantine style.
That I would pay good money to see.
Style.
Yeah,
I would freaking pay money to see. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that would be fun. I would watch that. That should be a
Muhammad
show.
says, I mean, now that the strike is happening, it gives these franchises and directors and writers to improve their future projects. Yeah,
there's
exactly.
The problem, though. Here's the thing, though. It's not them that's doing it. Like, these guys know how to make movies. The problem is they're taking direction from the suits who don't know how to make movies. And the suits are telling them what they want. And when they don't get it, when the suits don't get what they want, then they make all these changes. They hire and fire people. They make demands on these things, and they turn out worse. And they look at people and go, "You fucked up. You fucked up." And like, we did exactly what you wanted us to do. Well, it's your fault for not. That's the problem with these suits, right? And that's why these strikes are good, because the suits are making all the money. They're not doing any of the work, but they're fucking everything up along the way, especially in WBD, the home of one David Zaslav.
Yep. All right. Man, ADD is really getting to you tonight.
Squirrel.
All right, let's move on. We got actually some comic book news this week. Starting off with Marvel's, we talked about this. Marvel is relaunching the Ultimates universe, and of course, they're kicking off with Spider-Man again.
Wasn't it Professor X's alter ego from the Ultimate Universe? Like, he escaped and started and is recreating the Ultimate Universe, right?
Reed Richards. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Reed Richards is the maker. That's
but his
evil Reed
the maker. His
that's
ultimate ego.
That's from the original.
And he's recreating it.
The original. Is that what it is? Is that the hook behind this?
The hook behind this is he's recreating the universe, and the last thing he did before he went and created the new Ultimate Universe was he went to go see Miles Morales, and ask him if he wanted to join him, and he didn't. That's what I remember from the plot line.
And I don't know, man.
So
but
this is here's the thing. It's being written by Hickman, Ray's favorite writer, over at Marvel. He can be really bad at times.
He can be hit or miss, but I mean, like, on the whole, he's a good.
But I feel like
revitalized X-Men. So
I feel, I could be wrong. I don't feel like he went to them and said, "Oh, I have an idea to bring Ultimate Universe back." I feel like Marvel said, "We want to bring the Ultimate Universe back. Here's some ideas. Make this work." So
it's funny. We've been like less than a decade with the Ultimate Universe gone, and they got rid of it because people stopped buying the books. And to be honest with you, the only Ultimate book worth reading was Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yep.
which is why they're starting with Spider-Man again. Yeah,
Well, that's what they started with last time. I mean, quite frankly, Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man book, the 150, no more than that, like 200 issues of it, was really good. But I don't know.
Hey, we may decide to review that if this dearth of actual movies and stuff.
I don't mind reading more
continues.
comics for the show. I don't hate that.
Kassan says this is the problem with comic books: stretch a story over years without any real stakes. Re-release, stretch a story over years without any stakes. Re-release. Yeah, I mean that was
Corporate
the thing
comics.
wasn't that the idea with the Ultimate Universe? Like there were stakes, people died and didn't come back, and yeah.
Well,
Ray says,
Hick the Dick is a good writer, but he lacks commitment and values. That's a harsh thing to say about someone.
It is a very harsh thing to say, Ray. Terrible. Are we going to read this when it comes out?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's something there. There's a hook there. Why not? Lord knows I ain't going to watch TV.
No,
Comics Explained is
don't be any
covering
TV for a
it
while.
'cause it's
I saw.
interesting enough.
I saw an interesting thing that studios might start. There are things that are made and never get released, like second seasons of shows, and Netflix cancels it.
The Salem's Lot remake that I've been waiting for a year.
Yeah, they're now saying like the studios might start releasing some of that stuff that's been sitting on shelves as they start running out of stuff because of the strike. Yeah, like
Batgirl.
we might see Batgirl.
Boy, I bet that's a real piece of shit. I can't wait to watch it. I enjoyed early Ultimate X-Men. It was great. I hate Mark Millar. I don't know. I never read it, but I just don't like Mark Millar's work.
Huh.
When does it come out? That's a good question.
Good question.
Stand by. I gotta. This is on Marvel's website.
Gizmodo 9 hours ago.
Ultima.
Next year.
Sorry. I love this stuff. It's like when is the new stuff coming out? Well, they have to spend 15
here's
minutes.
the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. It's just saying 2024, but they have said they're going to make an announcement at New York Comic-Con.
Details are present. Let's see. Details will come out at Marvel's next big thing panel, October 14th at the New York Comic-Con.
So December is what I'm thinking. If they're dropping knowledge in October, usually December or January would be the earliest you can expect it.
And now I know what we're doing on Saturday, Dave, when we're at New York Comic-Con.
Yes, we'll be.
You're interviewing
a panel.
Special person. Is the Daredevil Born Again show still happening, or do they call it off? No official word.
Yeah,
nothing official.
So I will say that I'm sure they'll say something about that at the convention as well. We will keep our eyes
Schrodinger's devil.
Peeled for that.
Schrodinger's industry right now.
Man,
both dead and alive.
Everything that was out is either dead or alive. You know,
Schrodinger's existence.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically,
everything
is
is
dead.
There's no status for anything, and there won't be till probably even if the strike were to end tomorrow, there wouldn't be updates in anything till January, I bet. Yes, release the Marvel swimsuit issue.
It would be way more today these days than it was back in the day.
Peter Parker gets
cucked. Yeah,
in the most comics that any other character. Yeah. All right.
Peter Parker has had more girlfriends than any other comic.
But they always fuck him over, and that's
or die on him, or
or trades his marriage to the devil.
All right, this one John brought to my attention, and this is interesting. DC Fables.
We've talked about this.
Oh,
before,
Bill Willingham's story.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
So
about
he's come out and said
new characters.
He has released it to what do they call it when it's like anyone can use it?
Public domain.
Public domain. And DC's arguing like, no, they own the copyright to it, and they're going to do whatever they can to protect the.
So this is interesting. This will go when this goes to court because I imagine that's where it's going to go. Because Vertigo is always kind of sticky. Was Vertigo creator owned, or is it actually owned by the studio? So
he said that he
says he owns it, and it depends on the Vertigo. This is why Vertigo doesn't exist anymore, guys. It's because they want to own these are IP farms. Does you no good. Like they have the Sandman. They can't make decisions of the Sandman because they they might be able to fuck over Neil, but are they going to try to fuck over
No,
Neil?
not
That's
Neil
the guy.
Gaiman,
That's
no.
not that guy, right? Like they were able to do some stuff with Alan Moore's Watchmen, right? Because Dave Gibbons would agree to it. But you know what I'm saying? So this is going to be the final answer on what Vertigo really is. And Bill Willingham has had a lot of problems with these guys for a long time. And this is uncharted territory we're in right now. This will be decided in the courtroom.
And he basically said that he would need like God money in order to be able to fight this in court, which he doesn't. Nobody has. Because these big corporations will spend billions of dollars to fight them on this to keep it so that they can own whatever they decide they want to own.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to fight this was with what he basically said, an asymmetric war. Okay, if I don't own it, you don't own it, then nobody owns it. It goes into public domain because in my contract, I still own this. And
I get that, but I'm sure they're going to come up with a loophole somewhere.
Well, I think the loophole is that in the contract, DC had the ability to develop other stuff off of the same property. And they're probably going to argue in court that, well, because we're developing other stuff off this property, we own the property because if we're developing off of it, then we own some of these characters that we've used, and he can't claim them anymore because we own them now.
Yeah,
Something
it could also be a weird thing where like they don't own the character, but they own the publishing rights to the characters.
Oh God, yeah, they get
Pretty sure that's kind of where we're headed with that. The whole publishing rights argument.
Yeah, like they own the publishing rights, so no one can make comics with them other than them, the characters other than them.
Well, in which case this is dead because if DC owns the publishing rights, but they have nothing to publish because they can't do anything with the characters because Williamson owns them, that's it. It's dead. Right?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. That's well, no, because if he's saying it's public domain, then they can still publish Fable comics with someone else writing it because they'll say it's public domain and we own the publishing rights. So yeah, that might have been a mistake of him making it public domain. In my opinion.
Know. We'll see.
I mean, it's a gamble. It's a legal gamble that's very unprecedented. So I don't think anybody knows kind of what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to fight this, but I mean, like, contract law is pretty like concrete.
Yeah.
So it's really going to depend on what the judge thinks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they're basically gonna judge shop this. They're gonna shop for a good district where, I mean, it's gonna.
They might not have a choice.
The major battle is going to be over where this happens.
Better pray it's not in California or New York.
Yeah, or Texas.
It probably will be in California. Isn't that where DC's headquarters are now?
DC's headquarters is, and when Willingham wrote the books, it was New York.
Yeah.
So
I think you'd have a better. I mean, the worst places to do that would be Delaware or Texas or Louisiana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So those are places that are really, really business corporate centric. They would rule against it no matter what the case law was.
I mean, like, it's going to depend. I mean, that's going to get bumped. There's going to be a bunch of appeals and all this. I mean, this can be interesting.
Yeah.
See, and again, we've talked about this before. Like, it makes me really sad that some of these creators who create these characters that are, indelible marks in our society, they don't have the rights to them. And they're not making any money off of it. It pisses me off. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And that's
Bill Willingham. They have a tense relationship. It's just one, Bill Willingham's a flaming asshole. Two, it's just how he is. Right. And it's his like a lot of creators, he wants the full rights to his creations. Same reason Alan Moore hates DC. Same reason DC would love to do more with the Sandman, but they can't because they actually respect Neil Gaiman and kind of fear him a little bit because Neil Gaiman's got some power. Like Neil Gaiman's an interesting cat. Plays very, very close to the vest on stuff. A lot more shrewd than people realize.
And he has a lot of money from the Netflix Good Omens stuff.
Well, he had money before that though. Like Neil Gaiman.
I know, but he's not short on money, which
No, but I mean, like. Yeah, but his money comes from long before that. Like Neil Gaiman's a different
Well,
breed.
the point is that they're fine with crushing somebody who doesn't have a war chest. But if somebody has a war chest, they'll be more circumspect.
But dude, they don't want to piss off Neil because Sandman was such a building block for the company.
I thought Fables was a pretty big title for them too.
It was. Fables was a huge title for them in the mid 2000s specifically.
Yeah.
So they want to do more with it.
Yep.
And like Bill Willingham's like, nope, this is mine. This is what I want to do with it. There you go. There's the problem. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah. Interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, it's funny too because like I think a lot of the issues also stem from like, early days in comics. Like people didn't think anyone would ever make real money off of it, right? No one thought there was going to be a Superman the movie, then Batman, and now where we are today with the movies, right?
Yeah, but in the 90s, that game had changed. People weren't willing to sign away stuff anymore, just the opportunity. The independent comic boom had already really been proven to be liquid, right? It's just in the 2000s when these deals were really made. Now is where it's getting interesting. Like, and that's a different DC Comics that made those deals than the DC Comics that exists today.
Very different. Yeah.
You're talking about the Paul Levitz thing era where Warner kind of just let them do their own thing. And they haven't been that since 2011. 2010-ish, actually.
There's a lot of studio interference.
Tons.
Corporate interference.
Corporate interference, really. Consensus would be prudent for DC to buy them out. You can't pivot superheroes to Fables for a bit. Different. Fables is a Vertigo thing, and I'm sure they want to utilize it, but I mean, it's not going to be. There's not the value in any Vertigo title this side of Sandman than there is to their superhero properties. Like, and they just want it. They just want control, but both for publishing and for the ancillary rights.
Wasn't Constantine Vertigo too?
Yeah, Constantine's Vertigo.
Yeah, so like Sandman and Constantine, I would say, are the biggest.
Especially early on Constantine, Hellblazer specifically, and then Sandman, and then there's other stuff in later years that was good, but those are the four bears. Doom Patrol, those are the four flag bearers.
They could do something with Books of Magic if they really wanted to,
but again, they're willing to play with Neil, but Neil gets to do his own thing. But that's probably why why they don't want this, because Neil got to do his own thing. Neil got to do his Sandman show at Netflix, not with Warner, not with Discovery or Max or whatever. I'm sure they want to tighten those reins. And Willingham, because Fables is a successful book, I'm sure they want to do stuff, and he might not want to for X reason.
Yeah, that's kind of, I feel like, where this probably stems from. They probably wanted to do a series like that on Max, and he was like, "Nah, I don't."
So Drew's question is, what would Disney do if Warner Brothers go try to do fairy tales? That's kind of what Fables is. Fables is very much like Grimm or Once Upon a Thing from Another. The show was on ABC about 10 years ago. Lucifer too. That's all Sandman adjacent. Like, that was what it was. It was all those people, all those characters exist in the real world and are doing things, right? So I mean, it's not. It predates all those shows. That's what it is. I mean, Disney doesn't know. I mean, those are public domain. Anyone can do a Jack and the Beanstalk story or a Little Mermaid story. You just can't do their version of those things. Same as Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh went into public domain earlier this year, and you can make a Winnie the Pooh story.
We immediately got a horror Winnie the Pooh.
We immediately got a horror Winnie the Pooh, but you just can't do their Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
And got to remember, like in 2022, there were 3 Pinocchio movies. One which was hilarious, and then Jack the Giant Killer was another really good. Jack and the Beanstalk take? That's a movie well worth seeing.
Fairy Tale from Stephen King was a Jack and the Beanstalk take too. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
great book.
All right, our last story I felt was right up JD's alley.
Sweet.
Miguel O'Hare is coming back.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2099.
Steve Orlando's right now.
They're doing a 6 issue miniseries where he's fighting all of the horror villains from the Marvel universe. We're getting a Werewolf by Night 2020 or 2099. I thought that was kind of cool. So and a bunch of other those characters. What do you think? Is this does people I know that have watched the Across the Spider-Verse who have doesn't know anything about Spider-Man 2099? We're all like, is he a vampire? So
he's not a vampire, but he's got his spider powers work differently. They didn't really get into that.
No, they didn't.
That being said, the idea of Miguel dealing with like horror-based characters, super intriguing to me. Kasan says, I think Fables would be a hit. I'm tired of sterile stories produced from Carly Studios. It could be, but remember, those same Carly Studios would produce that. So, you'd have to run it through that filter you just talked about. I think they're just for lousy IP right now. Yeah, I agree with Randy on this. They just want to collect all their IP. Anyway, like we were saying,
Fables is fairy tales, but
not naughty as in like Zenoscope.
Well, that's true.
Like we're not doing like we're not doing Snow White with the titties or anything like that. We're just
those are only the pic. Those are only the
John.
Images.
It's a visual medium, my friend.
I know.
I read it for the articles.
Storylines are still good, surprisingly. I mean,
yes. I read Zenoscope for the articles. Anyway, so
Norman Mailer has a good piece in this month's issue.
Give writers their due, no matter what. The art does.
Back to Miguel O'Hara and Spider-Man 2099.
Love the idea of him dealing with horror characters. Dracula's on one of the covers. Love Marvel's Dracula. One of my all-time favorite. Probably my favorite. Yeah, with Moon Knight, with the Moon Knight 2099. So I assume this is Dracula, not just Dracula 2099.
Right.
But like, or Dracula. Do you ever see Dracula 2000, the movie that came out in the year?
Oh my
2000,
God, that was interesting.
Where Dracula was Judas Iscariot. When you say that, it sounds kind of cool on paper, and then you watch the movie, and you go, "Wow, this is butt cheeks." And it was butt cheeks.
We also got Man Thing 2099. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be fun. Steve Orlando's a pretty inventive writer, so I imagine he'll have some fun. It's 6 issues, so it's like I don't know what to expect from it, but I don't know. Miguel's getting some shine right now, and I like Miguel getting some love because he's a cool character.
Yes. Street date. I don't see a street date. This is
pull up Randy's last comment.
Oh no, don't do that. Don't. No. Come on.
We've all seen that. We've all seen that meme, Randy. I know where you're going with that.
Yeah. There's no need for that.
It's annoying how he doesn't have spider sense. That's really important to being Spider-Man. Not necessarily, because all this. I mean, like Miles' spider sense is very different than Peter's. And Miguel became Spider-Man differently. And Miguel's been Spider-Man since 1992. So I mean, the whole point was to make a different Spider-Man.
Yes.
And he's a much darker character than Peter Parker.
Oh yeah. I think that's part of the appeal to him.
I agree.
Yeah.
So he was the only good thing about the 2099 universe, except that time Doctor Doom took over the world. That was a cool story.
Yes. I think it's next year, so. Again, I'm sure there's going to be stuff for this at the convention. We will check it out and we will report back to you on this very podcast about all of that stuff. So, all right. Yeah, I definitely will check the book out when it comes out. I'm sure maybe we'll read it for the podcast.
Maybe we'll have to do something.
Yeah, if the strike keeps going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our main topic.
This President's Day weekend, a new hero arrives, and the movie event of the year begins. Now, the wait is over. Daredevil. You're holding back. Don't. PG-13, February 14th, only in theaters.
That movie, also butt cheeks.
Butt cheeks?
Butt cheeks.
I don't know. Butt cheeks.
Speaking of cheeks, John has got his microphone muted right now.
Oh, you're talking about Ben Affleck's face when you say butt cheeks. That was the
he does have a cleft chin, which does resemble butt cheeks.
And you'll notice that Jennifer Gardner had way more face time on that because she was a bigger star at that point.
She was a star. Well, so was Ben Affleck, though. Like everyone in that movie was a star. Colin Farrell was like knocking on the door of being a star. Michael Clark Duncan is coming off the Green Mile. He is a star. Like, that is a star vehicle in that movie.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy, did it fucking suck.
I liked it. I mean,
You
it was
are
good. I
crazy.
thought it was okay.
What?
It wasn't great.
What? Go back. No, it's terrible. Go back and watch that movie. It's
I
so
like-
fucking bad.
Oh, it's 90s. It's a 90s movie.
2002, sir.
Did you ever watch the
I know
director's
it's a
cut?
90s movie in 2002, but I mean it was definitely written in the 90s and
Yeah, but see, look,
so bad.
look, Randy's makes an excellent point here.
It's
Not
not
a great
great,
movie, but I
but
did read more Daredevil after it, and that's true. Like if it gets you to read the comics, then it does its job.
No, it doesn't. Its job is to be a good movie.
No,
Failed. Yeah, failed.
not back
Miserable.
then.
Ass you. Dude, everyone knew that movie was bad when it came out. That's why we never got Daredevil 2,
Yeah,
Yes,
we got
did. It
Elektra
was called
instead.
Elektra.
which was worse.
Kassan says he thinks we should rewatch it for the show.
Well, we've watched worse.
Yeah, this is true. It's
I
not
wasn't-
bad, and the
I
director's
was
cut
fine
is
with
worse.
it, you know,
I was about to say,
Everyone says the director's cuts. Oh, it's so much better. It's so much more artsy.
there's a director's cut of that.
yes, there is.
Dude,
So-
this movie's fucking garbage.
I don't. Look, I liked it okay, but I don't think it could get any better by adding
All right,
more.
so we had
Did
done
we watch the Blade movies on the show? Did
Yes.
we do that? I thought
yes,
so.
we did.
Those were good.
So we had done a poll with the audience, asking what book we should read for the next episode, which was a while ago at this point. The overwhelming winner was Frank Miller Daredevil. But then once it won, we were like, well, wait a minute, what does that mean exactly? So I said, let's just do the Daredevil Volume 1 collected edition and Frank Miller Daredevil Volume 1. And interesting, because the first 5 or 6 issues are just him as the artist. I didn't realize he was just an artist on the book before he started writing.
For a few of the comics,
Yeah.
like halfway through, it turns to him being the writer.
Who's the
And you
writer
can
and
tell the
penciler,
difference.
which I thought was interesting.
Who's the initial
but-
writer on those Daredevil books? Is it Denny O'Neil?
No, it's not Emil. It's oh shoot, I have to bring it up.
I've got it. It's,
Okay.
No, I don't got it. I
I
don't
don't
got
got it.
anything.
I don't got it. Oh, okay.
I got it.
don't
I got it. I
it.
got it.
I've
got it.
lost it. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
I
There it
don't
is.
know.
There
Therapy.
it is. The writer was Bill
Bill Mantlo.
Manilow. Yeah, Mantlo.
Yeah.
And the artist was like for the first one, the second one.
In fact, the first 2
This was the one with
issues in the collection
Spider-Man.
is Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it was the artist was Frank Miller and Frank Springer, and the letters were Denise Wall and Elaine Heinel. So, and Jim Shooter was the editor in chief.
Oh well, yeah.
He was the editor in chief.
Yeah, but there is a very noticeable difference between the writing of the first few and then after Frank Miller starts being the writer.
Because he's a different writer.
I know.
Yeah,
but
completely
I didn't
different.
realize. Okay, I'm
So-
going to play the straight man on this. This is my first time reading.
Here's what I
So-
find interesting is Frank Miller is known for let's say Daredevil,
Noir.
Born Again, The Dark Knight Returns, what's the one with the Dame,
Sin City.
Sin City, right? So like his most famous art style is that blocky art style.
Yeah, he didn't have that. He was doing Marvel House style stuff at the time.
Right. Like it's so different. It's good. Like it's really good. at first.
Frank Miller chooses to draw the way he draws. Never forget that.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to draw like that. He doesn't have to draw ugly. He chooses to draw ugly.
At least
Yeah.
can draw a chest.
I mean, and it works.
Human chest.
It works
And
for the
wins that
Dark Knight
Liefeld.
Returns.
I know.
It works for a dirty story, but like, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It's go ahead.
I mean, for me, again, the first time reading this, it felt like before and after he started writing was literally the demarc between Jim Shooter type dialogue and story writing, and a more mature story writing where the world gained more color. The background characters had more to say. There was a living world around the characters instead of just a framing of what the hero was going through in the beginning. You know, after Frank Miller was actually, you know, there was a living world around everything. I really liked the change.
The books that he's just drawing are very late 70s, early 80s comics.
Right.
Like just to the T. How they used to do the books, you know, weird backup stories that like then continue on to the next issue. Yeah. Like, but everything in that era was written that way. Like you couldn't get away from it.
Well, here's the thing. Shooter gets a bad reputation as being a control freak, and he is a control freak. But at the same time, as he hired these guys, like there's a revolution of talent in Marvel in the early 80s, like generational defining talent. Like at the same time this is going on, you've got Claremont and Byrne on the X-Men, right? Yeah. You're getting Walt Simonson is about to do Thor, right? We're getting Miller on Daredevil. You're going to get Byrne on the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Like you're getting like heavy hitters are making their name, like American, like the British Revolution was going on in DC. Like in Marvel at this year, you got the American Revolution of the next generation of comic writers. So I mean, Miller doing his thing, Claremont doing the soapy stuff with the X-Men. Like this is what became comics of the 1980s. Like, and then Simonson doing the sci-fi stuff on Thor. Like, so again, that's Shooters. Don't get me wrong. Any criticism you want to make of Jim Shooter is a fair one, but he put these guys on these books and let them tell their stories.
Yeah. And here, like, was it on the third issue that's in this collection? It was Daredevil number 158, May 1980. On the first page, they had a little blurb from, I guess, from Shooter, maybe? I don't know. It says, from time to time, a truly great new artist will explode upon the Marvel scene like a bombshell. Ramblin', they give them all nice little nicknames.
That's Marvel.
Roger McKenzie, Kinky Klaus Janson, Joe Rosen, Gio Russos, Amiable Al Milgram, and Jim Trouble Shooter confidently predict newcomer Lanky. They gave him Lanky Frank Miller is just such an artist. So, little did they know that he's
what are they going to call
him?
Fucking Frank Miller?
Well, they can
Freaky
now,
Frank
and
Miller.
it would be a compliment.
It would fit.
He's like
It would
awesome, you know. It's Frank Miller. I mean,
I've always found Miller's writing style to be very overrated. I don't love Frank Miller's stuff. I don't.
Well, it was better than the originals. I mean, to me, again.
Oh no, I agree. In his Daredevils, I think the Daredevil is the jewel of his run, right? Of his stuff, like especially his corporate comic stuff. I think his Daredevil is better than his Batman because he redefines Daredevil. Like the Daredevil that we all know and love is Frank Miller.
Well, what's the first thing that gets introduced as he writes his first Daredevil book?
Spider-Man?
Elektra.
Oh, Elektra, right. Brings Elektra back.
The Kingpin storyline. Like this
Was that the first time Elektra
Kingpin.
showed up?
Yeah.
Yep.
He created
Elektra.
Elektra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything that you think like a stick, the hand.
Anything you when you think associate with Daredevil, especially modern
Miller.
Daredevil, it's all Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like that's why when Mark Waid came on, Mark Waid wanted to bring him back to the swashbuckling, more fun because everybody had been doing their impression of Frank Miller for the last 25 years.
Like that's the one thing I wanted to point out. Like John says, the writing changes definitely, but the tone of the book changes as soon as Miller starts writing it.
It's noir, becomes film noir.
Yep. It's
like
noir, it's darker.
You start seeing his like. It's not a shock that Frank Miller is the one film he directed was The Spirit. Will Eisner's The Spirit, because like when you look at these pages, you see Will Eisner all over the place.
Yeah,
like you can see.
Disagree with that.
Yeah, you can see the Spirit specifically, the Will Eisner's spirits, like the influences everywhere. And Frank Miller liberally borrowed from The Spirit in his Daredevil run.
And
right?
you
Like
can see
Elektra is totally an Eisner, an Eisner femme fatale character.
Yeah.
you can see some of the stuff that became kind of tropes for him too, like
Yeah.
the newscasters talking and
Mhm.
providing exposition,
Yep.
and like people, the two old people in the movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
like expositing about the
Yeah.
old timey actors and stuff. Like
That's
just again it's a living world where like there are characters that are talking about stuff that has nothing to do with what's going on in the panel, and
it's
I don't know.
exposition being delivered from other sources, not just a thought bubble from the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was the style at the time.
Yeah.
So what Miller's doing here is totally different. Like I said, it's kind of a lot of what this Daredevil run is a trial balloon for what will be Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it that way, but you're right. I was thinking it was leading us to Born Again, but yeah.
Well,
no,
of course, it
that's-
leads to Born Again because that's like his penultimate Daredevil story. But I mean, like the Miller style is really developed and honed here in Daredevil. Like Ronin, all this shit that we associate with being very Frank Miller is trialed here. It's like he's growing into himself as a creator, not just an artist, but as a creator with these stories.
Yeah. Definitely. What did you think of the introduction of Elektra? Because you know what? I realized the collection that I had is Born Again, so I never read this issue before.
It's better than them fighting on a playground.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she's there to kill him, right? So
Mhm. Oh, I think it's great, to be honest with you. I think the Netflix Elektra is much closer to this than.
Oh yeah,
Jennifer
that's
Garner.
True.
That's what they
Yeah.
said. They borrowed a lot from Frank Miller's.
Anything you
Daredevil.
think about as Daredevil is Frank Miller.
Yeah,
Anything. It's all Frank Miller.
yeah. So, could you imagine if they had gone back to the swashbuckling Daredevil?
Yeah,
for
they
the
did.
show?
That's essentially what the She-Hulk one was.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. That's why he had the uniform. That's why he had the different outfit. Too.
That's why I had the yellow costume. Yeah,
Because
the
they were getting
original.
away from. I hope they don't continue this, but for that show, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, could you imagine? I don't think the show would have done well if they went.
Fuck no, nobody wants that for Daredevil. Like with Daredevil, what makes Daredevil cool is the elements of Frank Miller edge. Because in reality, Daredevil is just a knockoff Spider-Man. Like Daredevil is just a cross between Batman and Spider-Man.
He's a weaker Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's 100% true, right? Or he's Daredevil without all, or he's Batman without all the problems. So what Frank Miller did is he brought on the Catholic guilt, which is something unique to Daredevil.
Yes.
No other superhero has that. You bring in the heavy noir elements because even Batman in this era wasn't quite so heavy with the noir elements. Like Denny and Neil were doing that kind of stuff, and there was like Marshall Rogers, but it wasn't quite as heavy as like what Frank Miller's doing here. It would become that, but not really. So I mean, like with Daredevil, you really like everything that Frank Miller brings to the character really helps redefine it and actually define it. Like I said, Daredevil is this. This is Daredevil.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's also why I said like the tone changes. Like, it's a different comic at that
Totally.
point. Completely different comic.
Which is what's cool. Like if this happened today, they'd give it a number 1.
In fact, I don't think it's funny because I'm pretty sure Born Again was the first thing I read from Daredevil. I don't think I would have read early Daredevil. Like if I
Born Again was after this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Several years.
How long after this was?
I want to say 85, 86.
I think so. 85 sounds right.
Because like Born Again is post Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Like Born Again is Miller's return to Daredevil.
Right. But I don't think like if I read the original ones, I probably would have been like what you just said. Oh, this is a Spider-Man knockoff.
Mhm.
I'm already a Spider-Man fan. I'm not going to bother reading this guy.
You and everybody
Yeah.
else. Everybody felt that way about Daredevil in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Early
But then Miller comes along and saves the character by reinventing him.
100%.
Yeah. In
Well,
fact, I think the book would have been canceled if it wasn't for this.
Mm-hmm. There's a good chance.
He felt more interesting. Like,
Oh, yeah.
more like there was an actual person behind the mask instead of just a paint by numbers character
It was
doing this.
It felt tropey. The very tropey the first issues that weren't written by him.
Yeah.
Which is why it's cool they included it, because you get to see such a dichotomy of what Daredevil was and what he would become.
Yeah, and I think that's why they did it. Like, because at first I'm like, why did they include all this stuff if this is supposed to be Frank Miller's first initial run? And then I realized, like, oh, like,
so you really get. I mean, like I said, I don't love Miller, but to deny his place in the pantheon would be foolish, right? He's one of the most important comic book creators of all time, definitely in the 1980s.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and I would highly recommend anyone who hasn't read this, likes Daredevil but hasn't go out. It's Daredevil, Frank Miller Daredevil Volume 1. You can get on Amazon, get on your Kindle. That's actually how I got it. And like read all the issues, the Spider-Man issues, the first 3 Daredevils where he's just the artist, and then once, I think it's 149, issue 149 is the first one he writes and draws, and it's also where they introduce Elektra. And there's such a change in the style of the comic.
The writing is more expressive. It's more detailed.
It's more down to earth.
It's more expansive of the world around the characters that they're showing.
It's more grounded.
Yeah, more grounded too. Yeah, it brings it a little bit more closer to you, the reader, so that you can connect better with what he's going through. It's not just the "I will defeat you" kind of crap, you know.
That's very much what he is in the first books that you're reading there. It's just like, I've got to go defeat the bad guy.
I must help Spider-Man because he is blind and I know blindness, and you know, every other sentence is "I know blindness because I am blind." It's like, yes, you're blind. Thank you very much. But
right, is that your only? Your only defining characteristic?
Yes, that was.
Yeah, it was. That was
the defining characteristic, and Miller gets beyond that. Like I said, and I just love that they included these books in there because it just really shows you what a game changer this was.
Yeah,
I was really surprised.
I mean, it shows you when the right writer gets onto a book, and they can transform a character without, like, the thing is, it's not like he ignored any of his history or anything like that. He made it work. But he was able to add elements and change the style of the character to make it like, oh, this is now interesting. Yeah. So
it's a good book.
I found like there was a mistake in the text in one place.
Okay.
Do you want your no prize?
Yes, I want my no prize. Thank you.
Okay,
very much.
Which issue, what page, what was the mistake?
The page is.
Who hurt you?
What?
Who hurt you?
You guys did last week.
Page 155. It is. Let's see, what issue is that? That's the Daredevil. Let's see, issue 165.
Okay.
The 5th page in. The last one says, "Miss Glenn, we all know how hard you've been working since your father died, and we just wanted to is doubled to spare you the needless worry over you." So I found like
who was who was lettering that book?
That was pencil editor. Lettering was Joe Rosen.
I hope someone got fired over that. I hope they're on the street.
You go find Joe Rosen and smack him with the book.
I'm sorry. Look,
garbage.
I made notes. That was one of the things that just like caught my eye.
40-year-old typos.
Okay. What about the characters? Kingpin and Daredevil and Elektra.
Kingpin was
Bullseye.
interesting. Was that the first showing of Vanessa? No, Vanessa probably existed before that.
I'm pretty sure she was around in Spider-Man books in the era before, but I think this again, what we think of as Daredevil is redefined by Frank Miller in this run in particular.
Yeah, right. But the storyline of that one guy wanting Kingpin to take back over and murdering Kingpin's wife, like, what did he think the end game was there? He was going to die no matter what. Like, that was just dumb. But again, it's more human motivation than we were seeing before.
Yes.
Yeah.
and I think it, it's also trying to reestablish Kingpin as a more of a serious character too at that point.
Yeah.
So, or more of a threat.
And they did make him a threat.
Yeah, very much so. That's the other thing. Bullseye in the couple issues that he didn't write is also a very at first a very mustache twirling villain. Kidnaps. Oh yeah, I forgot that him and Black Widow dated too, or were a thing.
They shared the book for large chunks of the 1970s.
Yeah, I forgot about all of that. So, kidnaps her.
Daredevil's laid a trail throughout the Marvel universe
of a lot of tail. Wait, what?
Yes, a trail of bodies. Like
I found it interesting that he was the one that he's not the one that wrote the issue where Daredevil breaks down, right? Because later on he finally explains that no, it was a tumor in his brain, and because it just seemed weird that he just Deadshot. Oh my god. Bullseye just suddenly broke down. Like, oh no, he beat me. It's like, and just sat there, start whimpering. It like that doesn't make any sense. And then Frank later on, he explains that off. He comes up with an explanation why Palpatine came back. That he had a brain tumor, and that's why he was acting so weird. But now we're gonna make him awesome again.
Is that we need Frank Miller to write an explanation of how Palpatine came back?
I'm sure he could come up with a better one than the one that they came up with, which was no explanation.
Somehow he returned.
But yeah, it was nice though. They made him more menacing. They gave him his personality back by taking the tumor out of his head. And at the same time, they showed Daredevil being Daredevil, where it's like, hey, the train is coming, and I could just leave him here, and Bullseye would die by train, and nobody would blame me because I'm half dead myself. I can barely drag myself out of this train tracks, and he didn't. He took him. He saved him. So it makes I don't know. It's just the writing was overall way better.
I've never been a big Bullseye fan as a villain.
It sucks.
But this made it work.
It's the best interpretation of Bullseye ever.
Yes. No, I won't disagree with that, but it's just what if Hawkeye became bad? The guy who can't miss.
True.
He's kind of one note. No doubt. That's why Colin Farrell made him just, his solution was to make him Irish.
And the tattoo or carve a bullseye into his head.
And completely sociopathic.
Well, he is completely sociopathic.
Yeah. He killed someone with a peanut, right? On the plane?
Yeah, killing the woman with the peanut, yeah.
Or in the bar, or whatever it was, yeah.
It was I thought it was on the plane.
I don't know.
He bounced it off the seat.
We're gonna have to watch the movie and figure it out.
Okay. I mean, what else are we gonna do, right? We're just gonna start going back to the actual.
Well, you guys are gonna get caught up on Ahsoka. I mean, there's only a couple episodes left at this point.
No, we'll talk about Ahsoka. Is this the last episode?
No, it's 8, I think, altogether. So this was 6, so 2 more.
Okay, so we'll talk about it.
Poor JD.
I think JD is cooked. I think you're probably right. I think I'm fried.
Wow, I didn't think reading Frank Miller.
All right, well, Muhammad had a question.
Life, man. How do you guys see the final MC movie going down? For me, I think that every hero across space and time will fight the big bad. Didn't we see that in Endgame? Isn't that kind of what happened?
I think that is what happened in Endgame.
I don't know. With a whimper is the answer to that question. The final MC movie ends with a whimper.
Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl, definitely.
It's an origin movie of Squirrel Girl where time travels back to the beginning of time.
Spur Girl is way more powerful than anybody gives her credit for. She defeated.
Remember when the AT&T girl was like slated to play her?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was the thing that was going to happen.
That was one of John's fantasies come true.
That would have worked for me. Stop it. Stop.
I mean, I get Muhammad's question, right? Because we're doing the multiverse stuff. Like, now, not just all of the MCU heroes, but all of them from across all of the multiverses come and fight the big bad. And it's just like, you're just making what you did before a little bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't think Disney's even contemplating the idea of the final MCU movie. In their mind, they're like, why final? We make cartoons all the time.
Yeah, true.
You know?
I mean, and I kind of feel like the final one was Endgame at this point.
Kind of. If you choose to believe that, you would not be wrong.
Yeah, they need to breathe some life into this. We'll see with Loki season 2 is coming soon. So.
They need to refocus on what they need to come up with a storyline and then stick with that storyline instead of going all over the place.
All right. Well, yeah, JD's at the end of his rope, and
he's fighting fast.
He's fading fast. So, Muhammad says the cartoons still won't be the same. Yeah.
DC always did better on the cartoons.
It's been downhill for Marvel since the Spider-Man radioactive. We will try to. Okay, someone wants to know if we bring Ahsoka for next week. I'd be interested to see how many of you can record the Black Word, how many minutes used to cover it. I think you'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I think the show moves slow. I wouldn't argue with that one bit. We're planning on it. The idea is to watch it. John and I are terrible podcast co-hosts, so we miss things from time to time.
All right, let's wrap this one up then. Okay, well, again, I recommend people go out and get the Volume 1 Frank Miller Daredevil.
Well worth the money.
Question. I know there's a Volume 2 because I saw it, but at the end, Vanessa actually survived, but she's walking around going, food for money or money for food or whatever. Is that a zombie thing?
No.
Because the other ones were saying that too?
No zombies in Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Okay. I just thought that was kind of weird that she started saying the same thing those other people in the tunnels were saying. That seemed like interesting. Anyway, okay. What do you say? Castlevania Nocturne is releasing. Wow. Castlevania overall, that series has been pretty badass, and also really adult, really cringeworthy.
Once
and actually kind of awesome.
Soon, when stuff isn't coming out because of the strikes, we'll go back and watch all that stuff we were supposed to watch.
At some point, I think it'd be interesting if you guys, given time.
No, we're not watching One Piece.
No.
Neither one of us has the attention span for One Piece. Maybe the live action one, but not the
live act. No, the live action one was what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Because there's only 8 episodes. Okay, JD. You don't know, JD.
I have no interest.
You
talk anime, and I'm just like,
no, it's not anime. It's live action.
30s.
First off,
I know live action anime. Double.
Sit your son down in front of it and then have him review it for her.
Or drink a bottle of rum and watch it.
I don't drink.
It's pirates.
So. Yo ho.
All right. All right. Let's go around the room then. What did you learn on the podcast this week, or do you have any recommendations? We'll start with John.
Well, recommendations is actually, Frank Miller's run on Daredevil is really worth it. Again, my first time reading it, so I was very pleasantly surprised. I am going to get the second volume, the second collection, and read that. Also, One Piece. Everybody take a drink. The live action Netflix, still worth it. And I am in the middle of rereading a series of urban fantasy books called The 20-Sided Sorceress by Annie Belay. And because I stopped reading like 4 years ago. I've got a lot of books. She's written like 3 other books, so to catch up, I got to reread the whole series because I read so many series I forget stuff. And it's really nice. It's really a geek series. Like, the main characters are talking about, video games they've played and that sort of thing. And there's like, I don't know. It's really a good series to read if you want to get into urban fantasy and you're a geek, because there's a lot of references you'll get.
All right. JD?
I learned I have to go to bed. I'm punchy. I just finished Stephen King's newest book, Holly. It's a great little Columbo style detective story. I say Columbo in the way that you know who the villain is in the crime immediately. Now you have to watch the hero put the story together. And with just some god awful, spine curling villains that are very much, you go, huh. Yeah, huh. So it's a really good book. Highly recommend it. Just started a book today from a writer I've never read before named Stephen Graham Jones, who's a Native American horror author. He's got a book that I'm reading. I just started today called The Only Good Indians. And I will report back on it later, but I'm really liking it so far. It's excellent.
That title doesn't sound like it ends well.
It doesn't start well. Like it's a horror novel. It's basically about a band of, not a band, but a bunch of Native American friends who, when they're young, kill a sacred elk, and how it comes back to haunt them.
Oh, that's not good. You never kill the
It's
sacred
really good. It's
nothing,
really good.
Nothing with
so
the
far.
word sacred in it. Do you ever kill? Do you never?
They don't use the word sacred, but it's very much stooped in not Native American mythology, but Native American culture. Like, it's very much a story that can only have been written by someone who actually grew up on a reservation, right? There's just a lot of intricacies, and just it feels very tangible, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So hopefully the next week I can sit there and really give this a recommendation. But so far I really like this. I might have a new favorite writer whose stuff I like to go to. Stephen Graham Jones. Sorry.
I learned that if JD doesn't have a ring light to play with, he fades very quickly. And having 2 hosts with ADHD is not a good thing.
What? Oh, sorry.
Especially when, my God, especially when someone finds a typo in a comic book.
Oh my God, this thing is blinding. It keeps getting. Look how bright this thing gets. Jesus,
you look like an Oompa Loompa.
He does look like an Oompa Loompa.
I feel like that scene in Wonka where the kids are in there and it's like super bright. I felt like that. Jeepers.
All right, we're falling apart here. And,
all right,
our watchers are dropping off. So,
recommendations. I don't really have one other than go get. If you want to learn all the origins of the cool stuff in Daredevil, go get Frank Miller Daredevil Volume 1. It's a great book. You can definitely see the contrast in the writing too. It was a brilliant move having both of those in there. And I also recommend you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. Of course, comic book reviews by our good friend Chris. Plus, Chris has been putting on there every week recommendations for books that are coming out that week. We've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. And if you want to see what we think you should read, go check that out. And also, if you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live here on Sunday nights. Hopefully, we'll keep that going for a while. And on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape